Hello, and welcome to Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Davis Henry. Now, complex regional pain syndrome, or CRPS, is something that my next guest hopes that you never have to experience. It is a chronic pain disorder that affects the limbs after injury, surgery, a stroke, or heart attack. It is very rare, with fewer than 200,000 cases per year in the U.S., but my guest today, Erica Annise, has been fighting CRPS for years. Erica Annise is a definite and true survivor. Not only has she been suffering with CRPS, she's also suffers from heart disease and depression, but somehow does it all with a smile, which I know can't be hard. She chooses to live her life abundantly in her purpose, and that's exactly what I wanted her to talk with us about today. Erica Annise, welcome to Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff.
Hi, Dr.
Hey, and she came, honey. If you guys, so listen, let me tell you, on the program, right? You have the option of listening to a podcast in your car at your leisure, but I am going to beg of you to turn on the feed, honey. Go over to Spotify, or on Thursday it'll be uploaded onto the YouTube, and you will see the goodness that God has brought forth to us today. Because Miss Erica did not come to play. I tell all my guests, right, that we are doing a video podcast. It's audio, but people will see it on video if they're on Spotify. And I say, you know what? Come as you are. You don't have to do full drag if you don't want to. I'm going to take you however you come. Mama said, hold my beer. Okay. Hold my beer. I'm going to get dressed. Okay. Hair laid, beat for the cheap seats, snatched. Honey.
A little contouring for you, darling. A little contouring.
But see, I see it. I see it. And this is what I mean. This is what I mean, because there is a saying that the folks have, right? Thank God I don't look like what I've been through. Thank God I don't look like what I've been through. And you came in here looking like new money. You came in here looking like new
money. Look, I have to some degree, because when I met you, I was looking like a wrinkled up $1 bill. You'll say my friend, okay?
No, baby, no. So I know. So I talk with all of my guests prior to doing the interview, just to make sure we understand like the direction that we're going and the intention behind it. And so we are going to get into the how we met portion of the interview, but I do want to say that it is I wanted you here intentionally, and one of the things that I do for this program is I try and make sure that I invite guests on, not just for the sake of having a guest, and certainly there will be guests that I just want to kiki with, right? And I love to kiki with you. But I want there to be some value to my listeners. I want them to, even if they've never heard of CRPS, even if they don't know anyone, which likely, because there are so few cases, they probably don't, right? Even if they don't know anyone with CRPS, that there is something that they can get from your story that connects them with you, and that they can then apply to their lives. And I think that you just radiate positivity and light in a way that, even if I'm having a bad day, like I know you're going to give us some tips on how to turn that around. Because I mean, baby, you walked again, new money, old money, raggedy money, crumbled up dollar bill, new money. New money. So I thank you. I thank you for coming in drag, honey. I appreciate it. You look fantastic. So, you were getting ready to say, so Eric and I met ironically on an airplane. Right? We met on an airplane, and I don't like to talk to folk on planes either.
Neither do I. I still don't remember. I think we were conferring about someone in front of us. There was something going on.
It was either the flight attendant or something was happening, and then I looked back. Erica was sitting. Right? No, you were sitting in the seat right
behind.
behind
That's
me,
right. That's
and
right.
for whatever reason, I turned around and saw your face, and I was just
It was
like,
mm, you saw what
mm-hmm.
I saw, right? Okay.
Yep.
And then that's funny. I forgot I was behind you. Wow. And we
You were
really
behind me.
started.
And
Oh
let me
gosh,
offer a disclaimer. If you see either of us on the plane, this is not an invitation, okay?
no, not at all.
This is not
I
an
I
invitation.
I sometimes have an imaginary phone call with somebody because I don't want someone to talk to me. I want them to sit down knowing, not the one. Please,
Not
please,
no, not the one, the
my
two, or the
this is my
three. I don't
special time. Yes, by myself.
right.
Yes, I'm getting away from my husband
Right.
and my dog. This is my time.
Yes.
But whatever, what I wish I could have remembered, but somehow now
It,
that when you say I was behind you, we just kept talking. But you were how I don't even know how you kept turning around and I would get lean forward.
it was something, I don't know if it was the flight attendant
It
or
was
if
something.
it was someone, but
I
it was
think
just
so.
like, what in the world is this? What is going on? And I was like, I know another sister gonna agree with me that
Right,
this is
right.
ridiculous.
That's what.
And
Now
I
that's
looked behind me, and there you go. I
my
might
face.
even have a picture. I might even have a picture of us
We're
somewhere.
gonna have
I
to
know I
find.
have some pictures of that
Yes,
weekend, but
that weekend.
I might have a picture because I was like,
Mm.
mm-mm,
And I had my face
mm-mm.
like, sis, I see you, I feel you, and I know what they're doing, and we just gonna keep our eye out. And that was it. And sometimes when you look back, and I was like, I saw that too.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
So don't
yes.
cut up. If we are on the plane together, don't cut up,
Please,
okay? Because
please.
we gonna talk about you, and it's
But
gonna end up on somebody's
you
podcast.
you had just had your beautiful daughter,
I did. So
and not
Sky
just
would
had,
have
but
been about
like,
one
well,
at
yeah.
that time. So
And but that was
this was
the
2015.
yeah, and that was the thing about you that carried into the bad things that happened to me within that next 24 hours. It was the nurturing mother in you that God brought to me in my moment really of despair because I was alone and he just said, the woman you met is a mom and she's a new mom. So her nurturing spirit is very present. That's the only person that I can gift to you to call because I gifted her. It was, I mean, really, God was doing a magical thing because it was like He gifted me you on the plane, having no idea that I would
Yeah, because we
desperately
didn't even
need
know we
you.
were going to the same place. So
That's true. That's right.
yeah, we didn't even know. Like we're sitting behind each other, but we were going to the same function. Eric and I were on a plane headed to
That's
a women's retreat,
that's right.
and we were both speakers at this
Yeah,
retreat.
that's right.
And I noticed on the plane, I think you had a cane at that time,
Yep, yep,
and you had the wheel. They were wheeling you. They were going
yep.
to wait and assist you afterwards. But I think in upon us talking and realizing we were having similar experiences,
Mhm.
um, I was just like, okay, well, she has some mobility challenges. Let me go with her since we're going to the same place. Let me just make sure she's okay and she can
Yeah,
get to where she's going because I'm going there too, and
that's
it
right.
ain't gonna start without us. So we can get there together. I just need to make
Right.
sure she all right.
And that I will always see, and I didn't even know in your mind that's what you were thinking. But it was again, God doesn't make mistakes, and He puts
Mm-mm,
people in each other's
mm-mm.
paths for a reason. And that little tidbit, He did that as an extra bit for what we neither one of us knew was
Right.
going to happen, but you were paying attention enough to see that part that I was having mobility challenges at that moment and not knowing everything else that would
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
transpire.
Yeah, so just to cuz I feel like we're leaving
I
parts
know.
of the story out cuz
I didn't know if you wanted me
no,
to.
I don't care. I don't This is
Okay.
your story, not
Okay.
mine,
Okay.
honey. I'm
Okay.
just listen.
So,
I was tagging along for your adventure. You the one took me on this wild ride in the Dominican
it,
Republic
no. So,
over in hospitals, and I don't even speak Espanol. I'm trying right now. I'm on my Duolingo right now trying to learn it, but Lord have mercy. I ain't speak a habla os inglés, and I know I just messed that up, but like I didn't speak a lick of Spanish.
so
I
to
knew
all your
one or two
viewers,
words, but So we are I get a call probably what, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning.
3 in the morning. 3 in the morning.
So we're in our hotel rooms, and we're not in the same rooms.
No, you on
We're
another
I'm
tower
on a
thing.
whole nother
Yes.
tower of this resort, and I get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, who's calling me? Don't nobody know I'm here. And it's, Tiffany, can you
Yep.
come to my
Tomorrow.
room?
Yeah.
It's like, who the fuck
Yeah.
is
And I was like the lady on the plane,
this?
the lady that was, because I think I even had to call the front. It was a whole in my mind because I was so everyone. I was awakened about 3 o'clock. It was three that I called you. It was about 3 in the morning. It really was God that woke me up, and I had been having um, heart challenges prior and never had been diagnosed as in a specific type of heart disease, but we knew it was heart disease. Um, I had just moved from New York to DC with my husband and only been in DC a week when I left for this trip. So I knew and
Mhm.
felt that I was exhausted, but I just didn't know how bad it really was and that I had really been pushing myself. So when God woke me up, nothing was wrong and I didn't understand, but I looked in the mirror and just prayed. And I know from experiences just prior that my doctor said, if any time you feel this way, start a video log, start writing things down, and find someone. Well, I had no one. But I promise you, God said, Tiffany, she's our mom, and she's our new mom. And her nurturing spirit is present right now because she's even more so, she's away from her daughter. So she's probably just a little on edge because my fear was waking you up and you saying, girl, first of all, I do not know you. I'm not coming to your room. And may God be with you. I hope you're okay. Uh, but in those, I called you, and by the time you came to the room, my face started drooping, just things, and I
No,
was
you
think,
had like a no, it wasn't even the drooping.
oh,
It wasn't even
the
the drooping.
swollen.
It was swelling.
I was
Yes.
swelling
You
first.
had some
Yeah,
swelling,
yeah.
and we were
That's
trying to
okay.
figure
Yep.
out, like, did
If
you
I
have an
ate something,
allergic
yeah,
reaction to
yep, yep,
something?
yep,
Like,
yep.
what was this?
That's
And what
right.
I know to be true is that, oh, I think you always listen to people, right? You always, and as a therapist, but also as someone who's a patient on the other side, right?
Mhm.
You want your doctor, you want people to actually listen to what it is that you're saying.
Absolutely.
You know your body better than I ever will, and I'd known you then less than 24 hours, right?
Right.
So you're telling me something is wrong. Something is wrong.
Mhm.
And so I was juggling, for me, I was juggling, I don't want to get too far in her business
Right.
to ask her all these medical
Yeah.
questions, but at the
Yeah.
same time, her ass did wake me up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So
She might people need to be prepared for it because I remember,
yeah,
I
so she
think
gonna
at
have to
one
tell me
point
something.
you said, "So do you have any other
Yeah, I
issues?"
was trying to be polite. Like
Right,
I want to be like, bitch, what the fuck's wrong with you?
right.
Okay, what is going on? Just tell me, give
I
me
do
the tea,
remember
sis.
when you asked me, my look was in my because I said, "Oh, like, I don't know, if she's ready
Yeah,
for this, and she might actually
right.
run away when I start saying, oh, yeah,
Mm-mm.
yeah, I think this is not, yeah, I think it's not a bug bite. I have heart disease, and you were like, oh, okay, 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 like now, okay, now
Mm-hmm.
we gotta focus and
Yeah,
everything.
because I needed the full picture. Because
Yes,
if it wasn't, because it was something, it was, I don't know whether it was was it your lip?
yes. Oh, it started
It
with
was
the lip, and then it
lip,
just
and then it
kind of, and
started to
yes,
move.
yes,
It started
yes,
to move.
yes.
So there was all this swelling and stuff going on. We don't speak the language, so we're trying to enlist the hotel staff to kind of help us. We went to the infirmary
That's
at the
right.
hotel,
Oh my
and
gosh.
they just wanted to give you some Benadryl and
Allergies.
be
And
like,
I'm
keep
like,
it moving. And you know what, as I was sitting there with you, by this time it's like 5 o'clock in the
right.
morning, okay? So as I'm sitting there with you, what I'm understanding is you need an advocate.
Yes,
You need to be sick.
yes,
You need to be sick, and you need someone else
absolutely.
to advocate for you
Yes.
so that you can like rest, because that was too much.
I was getting frustrated and then I was getting
Yeah.
confused. And so it was just, and I think at that point you
Yeah.
even said, I had to write down my husband's information, my
Yes.
doctor. I think I think even we called her and even spoke to her on the phone. And so it was, yes,
Child, I
yes.
had
I
your
mean,
insurance
yeah, you did.
information and called Skip, got the credit card. I
Right.
know he was just like, I'm
And we
just
had to just
giving
trust,
information.
right?
Yes.
We had
Yeah.
the
So
option.
yeah, so what they wanted to do and what I was and again, I cannot stress, I do not know this
No,
woman at this
no,
point.
not at all. Not at all.
I
And
can't
do
stress
you?
that enough.
Okay, yes, yes,
That, I'm sitting there and I'm like, they're trying to tell you, oh, just get some Benadryl, sleep it
yeah,
off, it's going to
yeah.
be fine. And I'm listening to you and I'm like, no, I think we need to dig a little bit further, because what I don't want, and throughout the whole time, I'll tell you exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking, if this were me and this was happening to me,
Mm-hmm.
what would I need in this moment? And
Okay,
what would I want someone else to do?
okay.
Because I could tell that you were frustrated, scared,
Yeah.
um,
Do you remember me
all
telling you I don't want to? I was like, Tiffany, just don't let me. Oh my God, just don't let me die in here. Just don't let me die
yeah,
in here. And you were like, nope, nope,
yeah.
nope. We're not gonna speak it. We're not. But I knew all the just the things
You
that
knew
prior
your
that
history.
yeah,
You
and
knew
I
everything,
knew
right?
I knew the possibilities and what they had even told me before. I
And
didn't
ain't
think it was
that
gonna
some
happen that day, but
yes,
but
and
I
ain't
was
that some
aware.
shit, y'all, that she put that on me. Don't let me die in here. And she didn't even give me the full story.
I hadn't even
What
thought
I'm supposed to
about
do with no information. You just raggedy, girl. You
oh my
raggedy.
God, I hadn't thought about that. Oh, but I remember looking at
Yes.
you saying, and I was like, Tiffany, like, just don't let me
Yeah.
die in this, in this room, in this place, right here.
Yes, yes. So we end up going to the hospital. It was just me and you. I was trying
Yeah.
to get one of the people from the resort to go with you because
Yes,
they spoke the
yes,
language.
yes, yes.
And I was like, I can go with her, hold her hand, but I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do this
Right.
because I don't speak the language. So nobody wanted to volunteer to go.
Nobody did. Didn't want
And
to.
I won't get into other things,
Oh, yeah,
but I went
yes,
because I felt as though you needed somebody to go with
and
you.
I
And if
did.
no one else wanted to go or would volunteer to go, I was not about to let you go traipsing off to that hospital by yourself in a taxi
I was
cab.
about to say, in a taxi.
In a taxi
Yeah, a
cab in the
taxi.
Dominican Republic. No shade to the
No,
Dominican Republic. I
no
love it.
shade, but
But
it
we
wasn't
know
the
what we was
easiest
doing.
getting
No,
that
it
type
was
of
not the
medical
easiest.
treatment that I
No.
needed. I didn't
And
need
you had
a
specialized
band-aid.
medical needs.
Right.
You had very
Band-aid.
specialized medical needs. So we get to the hospital, um, then and thankfully, I'm pretty sure you had travel insurance, or you at
Yeah,
least
yeah, yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
credit card
Yeah, well,
insurance,
yes,
or
and,
something,
and
something
then,
like
well,
that.
in Aetna, because I had been so sick, they were prepared. I had an Aetna advisor already, and Skip was called. Everybody was calling her to see how do we get, what do we do? How do we need to care flight her back to America
Yes,
right now? What do we do? Because I guess at some point with my doctor, she was like, okay, this is serious, and she needs
yes.
to get to an actual like a hospital, like
An actual hospital that will
right.
actually treat you. So here's what we
Yeah.
ran into. And again, I'm almost 1,000% sure that a lot of the challenges that we had were based on us not speaking the language
Correct.
and not having someone there that could advocate for us
Yes.
that did speak the language, right?
Yes.
But one of the things that we ran into throughout this process, right? We're in there. She's clearly sick, right? There's something
Mhm.
going on. We need to know what it is so that we can communicate that with her husband, her doctor, all of that. So I'm running around trying to figure out how to do that and what that is, and going back and forth. Would have to go into the hallway to call her husband because the
Right. Because
the cell connection wouldn't work, so I couldn't
thought
be in the
about
room
that.
with her, and it was just a big old mess. But one of the things that really, really frustrated me was um, they wanted to charge you some exorbitant amount of money just to look at you
Yes.
without even like it
That's
was
right.
okay if you're gonna stay here and
On
we're
seven
gonna
thousand. It
we're
was
gonna
on
come
some.
up with a
Yes.
diagnosis for you. You need to pay
Pay
us
us.
up front thousands and thousands of
Yes.
dollars.
It was
And
thousands.
coming from the
Yes.
US, it doesn't work like that. You go into the hospital,
Yeah.
now you're gonna get that bill on the end.
Right.
But they were basically saying, we're not even
Oh,
going to
to
start
treat
an
you. Yeah.
IV,
Yep, that's
let
right,
you
because
pee
that's
in
what,
a
yes,
cup,
yes, yes,
do
yes,
nothing
yes,
until you hand over X amount of dollars.
yes. I totally forgot that too.
Oh
Yes,
no, I ain't forget
yeah,
that. Cause I was
yes,
disgusted.
yes,
Cause
yes.
I'm like, my friend, and again, she done put this pressure on me not to let her die.
Don't.
Okay.
So
She done
now I'm
put this
not.
pressure on me.
Now I'm gonna be Superwoman.
But now they're like, yeah, you need to give us twenty
Yeah,
thousand
yeah,
dollars
it was
and
a lot.
then we'll start the treatment.
Right.
But they couldn't tell us what the
What was wrong?
treatment
Right.
was or
That's
what was
it.
going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it came to a point, I think we had gotten you situated enough
Yes.
where I could leave because I had
At
the
the
speaking
speak. That's
engagement
right.
later.
Oh my.
Yeah, I had to speak
That
that
was on my
night.
list.
And so I stayed with you as long as I
Because
could.
then my
And
Sarah came, and I just met her too.
yes, yes. I think that was Vicky,
That was
right?
Vicky. That was Vicky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause I was like, I can't.
I know.
I was so my stomach was in knots. I just did not want to
Want
leave
to
you
be. I
there by
know.
yourself
I
because I
know.
wanted to make sure that you were taken care of. That was an incredibly scary time.
It was.
Um, and really like, and then miraculously,
I know.
the next day, um, Miss Erica shows up for breakfast.
I did.
You came and we heard Mickey Taylor. I think she spoke that
Yep.
morning. And but you were flying back home.
Yep. They had the
You were
doctor
going to
like,
fly
you've
back
got
home.
to come back. You got to come straight to, not even to
Yeah.
DC, but you got to come to Dallas to the right into the hospital. And I didn't talk to you after that right immediately, but they, put me in actually in ICU because they needed to go through my brain and see what had happened, what damage was there, because I actually had a TIA. And
Mm.
God
That's
was
what was
covering
happening that
us
day. Yeah.
because that most people don't get I mean, you don't get a chance to go through all of that and still, I don't want to say come away unscathed because I did have some issues internally,
Yeah,
but
but tell the
to
story.
tell the story, I mean,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you remember. Before I left, my doctor said, put me on speaker and she prayed. Were you sitting,
Yes. Yes.
because
Yes.
my doctor's like, I can't, there's nothing I can do, but I am a praying woman and you're my patient. And all I'm going to do is pray that God puts people in your path like you did yesterday, that you make it from there to Dallas without any
Yeah.
other issues happening so that you're not on a plane and something happens. Because again, she knew
Yeah.
I hadn't been treated at all, which means it could have just come right back because nothing
Yeah.
had been put in my body to help me fight it. And you know, 4 months later, that's when I had heart surgery, and then they put in a
Mm.
defibrillator pacemaker because again, God, I really believe more in that moment that God had a purpose for me.
Sure.
I actually
Sure.
like absorbed it in that moment because there's no way I should have still been here and been able to, safely get on a plane by myself, make it, uh, last
Mm.
4 or 5 months later to get to Mayo to have the surgery. Uh, Most people, they
Yeah.
were still in awe. Like, I don't know how you did it. I said, prayer. Jesus.
Yeah.
He is truly
Yeah.
my father and watching over me. And Dr. Tiff, y'all, the midwife nurse and an all in one, a heart specialist.
Child, don't you put that on me. Don't you put
And
that
a
on me.
nurturer. And a person, she
Listen.
won't let you die, y'all. She won't let you die. I'm gonna get a t-shirt. You don't want somebody to let you die? Call Dr. Tim.
Don't call me.
She can answer your
Don't
sexual
call me.
questions and not let you die. So
Listen,
that's
I
how we
just,
met.
I just, honestly, like I just I could not let go of you because I just wanted to make sure that you were okay. And I needed to make
We were
sure
bonded.
that Skip knew that someone, your
Listen,
husband
he
knew that
was
somebody was,
terrified.
there for you
Yes,
when he couldn't be there for you in that moment. And I know that had to be incredibly scary for him too. I know what I would want to be treated like and how I would want to be treated and if I were in that situation
yes.
and I could not bear the thought of you doing that alone even though I know you from a
I mean, that's
campaign
still, I'm in awe that you did
but
not know at all, but you were acting like my sister for real. like a true
Yeah, because
family member.
a black woman on the airplane, honey. I connected eyes with you and I was like, she already
Yeah.
knew.
And I'm so glad we did because I really thought about, like, what if we had not? I would have had no one to
Hmm.
call, and I don't know. I mean, it would have been a very different outcome
It would have
because
been
I
a different
really would have
situation.
stayed in the room and just
Yeah.
prayed, and then, you know, it
Who
would have
knows?
just gotten.
Yeah. I just remember the number of people talking you out of going to the hospital.
Yes,
Like, just she don't need to go to the
yes, and I'm
hospital.
like, you
It's
don't
just
understand. No,
she just has an allergic reaction. She just needs to
no,
sleep it off. It's gonna be
no.
fine. Take her some
Mm-mm.
Benadryl and blah blah blah.
Right. Mm. And you kept saying, I don't know.
I
She's saying she has some other issues. I think there's a, and I just was like, at some point, I just conferred to you, and you were like, nope,
Yeah.
so thank y'all all leave,
Yeah.
and we're going. She's going.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I
Well, I'm
thank
glad
you
that we
for my
did.
life.
No, I thank you. I thank you for coming into my life because it's I think there are times throughout all of our lives where we reevaluate our purpose. And
Mhm.
I do think that our purpose changes throughout
I
the
agree.
course of our lives. I think we are purposed to do some things at some points in our lives and others. And I think it was an incredible blessing to be able to assist you during that time. It was a lot. And I ain't gonna say it wasn't easy. It was a burden, honey.
It
No, I'm
probably
just kidding. It was
taught you more about even about yourself because
yeah,
you might not
yeah.
have
That
even
was
thought that you would do that with a person you didn't know and how well you were. But for
I
me,
get
it was your
well,
nurture, it was your mothering skills. That's really what it, because that's all that came into my mind was
that's why
she's
you
a new
chose
mom.
me.
I said it's like God, she's a new mom, so she's fresh on. If an injury, if there's a problem, moms fix it.
Yeah.
That's all I could think about.
Yeah, I think whether I had been a mom or not, I
Okay,
probably would have done the same
okay,
thing,
well then that's good to know.
yeah, again, don't be calling me, asking me the same. No, no, yeah, no. Um, but I do think that us meeting in the way in which we met, us connecting in that way, one of the things that it taught me too is we can't, we can't as women tout sisterhood and being there for one another and empowering one another and taking care of one another, lifting each other up, if we're not willing to do it in
Ooh, that's good.
actual, real labor
Yeah,
and work.
yeah.
It's not enough to just say, hey, girl power, and we stand together, and women empowering women, and let's pull each other up. If we're not willing
To do it in action.
to, yeah, to put it into action when one of our sisters needs help or needs a connection
Hmm.
or needs a favor or needs I don't know, I
Just
don't
a
know,
hand,
just any
just
of it. Yeah, just
hand, a hand, and
um
whatever that hand
we
is
can't
for.
hoard information. If our girlfriend wants to learn how to create a reel
We
on
can't, yeah,
Instagram,
yes,
I don't know the technical,
but we
and i'm
see it
and
as
i'm an expert,
competition.
but
That's the problem. We see
it's the
more
competition.
competition.
Right. And I want to make sure that we don't just, it's not enough for me to just speak at a conference and stand on a stage and say blah, 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 blah about, us being sisters and empowering women. But it's a very different thing. We have to actualize our care and
Oh yeah.
compassion for
Ooh,
people and not just talk about it from a
yes,
perch.
compassion. That is it.
So for me, it was an opportunity to be about the very thing that I talk about.
Mm,
And so I'm glad that I had that opportunity to exercise those skills and
mm,
muscles and to be able to be the person that I would want in my
yeah,
corner if ever that
it happens.
were to happen to me. So I thank you for that and I thank God for that too.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about, because CRPS is a label that came later
Yes,
after you
yes,
and I met, right?
yes,
So
yes. 27.
before you and I met, you had been having some health
Yes.
challenges previously. And so do you want to talk about that?
So, all sadly goes back to my heart and the years of not taking care and listening to the doctors because I thought because I ate well and I worked out and I did all these great things, I didn't listen to. the reality that heart disease runs in my family.
Mm.
And I just thought that sure it ran, it's going to keep running away from me because out of everyone, I do this and this and this, so it's not going to affect me. Even though they
Mm-hmm.
told me early on in 2003, now think about that, 2003 they told me, 2015,
Is
I
when I
didn't,
met you. Yeah.
I didn't listen. I took medicine,
Mm.
whenever I felt like it, but I was creating damage and allowing
Mm.
damage to happen every day, not realizing how many other areas it would affect my body. Um,
Yeah.
and by 2017, obviously having a pacemaker and defibrillator in, still, I find out, I know now, once you certain damage to your heart or any major organ can't always be reversed. And
Mm-hmm.
I had another episode very similar to what happened with you and I tore my knee. When I tore it,
Mm.
the way I tore it, they said it should have been playing football. But I
Mm.
collapsed and went unconscious. And but in doing that, CRPS was sadly birthed into my body because it is so rare. And I just remember the doctors. I was unable to walk for 109 days,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember them at the foot of my bed saying, "I hope it's not CRPS." Had no idea what it was, but the look on their
Mm-hmm.
face terrified me because they still
Mm.
didn't say it that day. And when they finally diagnosed me and gave it to me, actually it was the day after Thanksgiving, 2017, and they said, "You'll never walk, so you might want to start to get used to the wheelchair. This is permanent." Um, and that's it. And I just cried for 24. Tiffany, when people say, I cried for 24 hours, I don't always believe that people really. I cried for 24. I mean, I didn't. It's like I couldn't wrap my mind around. So I'm just about to not walk, and nobody's like, hello,
Yeah. That's
nothing you
it.
can do.
Yeah.
But it happens
Yeah.
again. I had at this point a TIA, which is a mini stroke. I had already had all the heart complications, and it was just a product. And I just had the bad chemistries that it ended up being me. And
Yeah.
if you don't treat it early, if you don't start to find a regimen that works for you, you will lose the use of your limbs. And for me, it started out with my right leg and it moved to my left leg, and it's still in both legs. But again, God has a purpose for me because He keeps um, allowing me to apply the right knowledge and information to find a path that works for my body, and I am miraculously put in a better situation. And I think because I am transparent, people hear me, they
Mm-hmm.
understand what I'm going through, and they have empathy for me, and so
Mm-hmm.
they have had a desire, just like you, to help me uh,
Mm.
in this journey of health challenges that I've had. And so, although I was devastated and I was trying to have to learn how to maneuver my life out of a wheelchair, I didn't want to give up if there was a small chance that I could walk again. I'm getting teary eyed. Oh, I didn't expect to because I'm just thinking I really thought I would be in a wheelchair. And for the first time, I think with all of us walking around and being normal, I say being normal,
Mm-hmm.
but having every possible access with your body, you've never thought about if it was taken away.
Yeah.
What would you do? How would you react? And I had never thought about it, and I did not react well at first. I just thought it just can't be. And I met a person, and she's just like you in some sense, but she had been diagnosed with CRPS 20 years ago. When
Mm.
then it was like she was one in 1,000. So
Wow.
she had been on this journey, and she had figured. I mean, she had done her own research, gone to China. I mean, just a whole bunch of stuff. And again,
Mm-hmm.
out of all the people in the world, for me to
Mm-hmm.
go onto Facebook and just put it in, came upon this woman. And because CRPS deprives you of sleep, of a lot of things, she was up
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of the night. And I text her, and I couldn't believe she responded like within seconds and said, and if I'm very transparent, my text was, I don't want to live. If this is the life, If you're going to tell me this is what I'm going to have to do because she was in a wheelchair, I don't want to be in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. I would much rather die. And she said, nope, nope, nope.
After all that work
I,
I did to keep you alive.
I was ready to throw in the towel. Sorry, I'm going to leave Tiffany a special note. Not, I love you, but this has nothing to do with you. Thanks for the save, but I needed you again and you weren't here. How about that? Put it on. You weren't here. How about that? Leaving me out here in this world by myself. Dr. Tiff. Shoot. How about that? Mm. She was very similar to you in the sense she said, I'm going to give you 7 days to have a pity
Mhm.
party. Be mad,
Mhm.
kick, do whatever,
Yeah, that sounds like
wheel
me.
over
Yeah.
something if you
Yeah.
want to. But after
Yeah.
the seventh day, I'm calling you and we're going to fight this. And I was like, oh no, don't be talking to me like that, girl. On day 6, she's like, are you good? You through cussing everybody out? And I was like, no, I got more things to say. Okay, well, you have one more day. And she truly, the next day, said, okay, it's a wrap. Just started bombarding me with information. And you're going to beat this. And I was like, no, I'm not, because I can't walk. Um, but she has taken me on a journey that has taken me down some crazy roads, taken me to Italy for
Yeah.
experimental treatment that works, got me out of the wheelchair. Now I am not free of CRPS, and I want to explain a little bit about what CRPS.
Please do. Please do.
There's
Because
a
most people don't know what this
understand
is.
something happens in a surgery after a injury. And they still don't know because no doctor does it intentionally, but it has to do with the connection from your nerves and the nervous system to your brain, and
Mhm.
how somehow it gets warped. So your brain thinks that you are constantly in a state of an accident, that your body there's a
Mhm.
wound that's constantly open. So it's saying it's in pain. It's saying it's not well. It's saying your legs can't work. So it's saying that. So of course it's telling your body your legs don't work, so your legs don't work. And there's no way to reverse it. Now for me, my legs were swollen probably 5 times normal size, so I that was impairing my walk, circulation, blood flow, all of that. Um, but I went to Italy because of my friends and family who literally pulled money together because insurance doesn't cover it, to get me to Italy for this experimental treatment that has been working on lots of people. But the sad part is, I was in a group of 9, and I'm the only person that it worked on. I
Mhm.
do believe that because of my dear friend who pushed me, who I didn't know at the moment, but now she is a family member. She caught me before I allowed it to really take over.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I still, even though I couldn't walk, but I still had a trainer. And my trainer, we
Mhm.
would utilize, she would wheel me to the gym. Now, what would I do? Just get in the pool, because that was the only place where I could actually move.
Mhm.
I had a little more mobility. So I didn't give up. Now,
Mhm.
you know, at the beginning, you said something about um, giving tips. I think the tip that I didn't even realize was my tip for myself, because it's not giving up. It's not giving up. I gave up every day. Every day I gave up. Oh my God, every day.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna be a little more transparent. When you are a person who doing all the things that I was doing, modeling before and all of this, I had a bedside commode too.
Mhm.
That was humiliating for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
For every morning, for my husband to have to check and make sure, and before a nurse came in, I felt like I had aged 50 years,
Yeah.
and this was
Yeah.
not part of the plan. So I gave up every day. But somewhere in the day, it's like I kept saying what she would say to me, Susan, you have the choice. It's your
Mhm.
choice. The tip is today, what are you choosing? Are you
Today.
choosing to try or are you choosing to not try? She said, some days it's okay not to try at all. But if you have more days where you don't try, then that's going to equal up to you completely giving up,
Yeah.
you know. And so I truly had to, there were days I was just frustrated. I would, push the wheelchair off and like I'm just going to crawl. And I was just even, I think I was in some way trying to humiliate myself to a level where I would see it and say, "Now, is that what you really want? Is that what you really
Mm-hmm.
want? That's not what you want." Because it wasn't what I wanted, but I just didn't know how to get
Right.
out of the barrel.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so, I didn't give up and I really pushed myself and it was hard. And I still, I
And it
live,
sounds like you were in the fight more days than you were out of the fight. You didn't allow yourself
that's
to
it.
give up too many days
Yes,
to where it just led you to this downhill slope. You took some time,
I did.
you took some time and then just made the decision, I'm going to have more good days than bad. Not
Because
to
I,
say
you
that
know
those
what?
days wouldn't be rough.
Because, and I'll tell you, this happened in that time period. Somebody that was in our group committed suicide.
Mm,
His sister came online and said, I'm sorry to say this, share this with you guys. And that he took his life last night. And I just was like, it hit me how bad it could get, so that
yeah.
I really had to make a decision. I've got to really
Yeah.
either fight or, because he had it longer, it's going to suck me into. Because
Yeah.
you can't, when you go from walking, and he'd been a football player. So his
Oh,
whole life was just,
yeah.
yeah. And I understood that, so that was my real turning the corner of, okay, because that's the only option. Right now, I have just two. So, and I want to live.
Mhm.
So what do I'm going to have to fight harder mentally and physically when I don't want
Yeah.
to, when I'm going to cry the
Yeah.
whole time, and I probably cried every day, um, but realizing that I still had breath,
Yes.
that he woke me up every day. So if you're waking me up,
Absolutely.
then I really do have a choice. So, and it's on
Yeah.
me to say thank you, because one, Dr. Tip helped save me that first time in 2015. So I can't let all her good attitude and stuff go to waste. I have got to live up to what, and really along the way, you were one of those
Mhm.
people, Vicky. I really started, and some people may think this as odd, but you all were holding me accountable without even being there. I really felt that I owe you to fight for me, so that you knew
Mm.
that whatever you did along my journey was worth it, and that you were a cheerleader in my head, even though y'all weren't physically there. You all were, because I would see you with your look attitude. And there was a couple times in high school you gave me a look like, "Oh, we're not gonna let them do that," and I could just, okay, so I remember that, and I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
you really have to, you got to fight for your friends, but for yourself. But you have
Yeah.
to realize today is the day. Every day is start up. Today is the day.
Yeah.
Today is the day. Uh,
Yeah. Every
until it,
day.
until it
Every
ha-
single
until
day.
I am now, I am in a state of pain 24/7. But I'll now say, but you're not in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Now you can walk. You know,
Amen.
So have to be, I have learned, and I want others to realize, you do have to look at whatever gift God has given you that day and be grateful for that gift,
Yeah, for
not for
that.
the ones
For
that you
that.
don't have. Because there's a list. I don't have the newest Louboutin I desire or the newest Fendi that I want, but that's okay. I can walk. So
I can walk. It's
I,
the
I
basics,
need
honey. I can
I
walk.
can I need to look at it. But really, you
Yes.
have to. I have learned to look at things, and I try to share with others. Really, you're mad about that, but did you realize you woke up this morning? Hmm.
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
never thought about that. Um,
Yeah.
and and
In
and,
your right
and
mind.
yes, and educating people on the fact that you said the word at the beginning, but learning how to be your best advocate. I learned
Yeah.
that in this whole process. Even watching you then, when I had to really rely on you being my advocate. You didn't even know me, but I saw that
And I couldn't speak the
I
language.
but that's
It's
okay. You were
like,
writing stuff
I'm gonna say
down, and
something.
we you were going out in the hallway trying to get the reception. Then coming back. Okay,
Child,
this and
a
this.
mess.
But hey, that was what you had needed to do for me, your new
Yeah.
friend. But
Yes.
I thought I needed to do those same things for
Bedside
myself.
bestie. Yes.
I needed to learn how to do those same things for myself, um,
Yeah.
especially dealing
Yeah.
with the CRPS. That's a
Yeah.
lifelong affliction, uh,
Yeah.
so.
It's something you're going to be dealing with. So, I guess what there is a choice
Yeah.
that you make to fight this every single day. I'm kind of wondering how you do it every single day, and I think that because you have every right to be depressed, every right to be depressed. You have the right to be anxious. You're in pain, so I know that with pain also comes some
Mm.
irritation, some anger. Um, you have the right to every single feeling that you feel throughout any given day. Yet, if you follow at Erica Niece on the Instagram or the Facebook or the TikToks, it's real Erica
I
Niece
mean,
on TikTok though, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
the real
Yeah.
Annise.
So if you follow her, she's gonna give you the real. Number one, she's gonna give you the real. You are going to know. You gonna know when she go to the hospital because she crusty and dusty in that hospital bed. But she gonna go on live now. So she
That's
gonna give
true.
you a live video. You gonna know what's going on with Mama. Okay. So
That's true.
she has the nerve, the audacity. Okay, to come onto my Facebook page in her little outfits, in full regalia, twisting and twirling, letting you know what the outfit of the day is, giving you a look, a moment, and a sachet. And this is the same one. And this is I ain't speaking no lies. I ain't speaking no lies. This is what happens on any given day with this one, right? She is in a tremendous amount of
Yes.
pain. She 24 hours a day,
Yes.
but there is something that allows her. And so that's the how. That's what we want to know. It's like the how. How do you go through all that you've been through and that you're still going through? How do you fight this fight with every range of emotion: anger, depression,
Yes.
frustration,
Ooh,
irritation, sadness, all of that, yet put on a smile and twirl for the girls.
I like that. I really do it for myself. Even my husband, Skip will ask, like, he's like, "You're in here. I know you're hurting," because he'll see me do it, and then I'll,
Hmm.
I'll sit down, or
It takes a lot of
yeah,
energy.
and he's
Hmm.
like, and I said, "But babe, when I see myself, I smile." I am getting
Hmm.
teary eyed this whole time. Lord have mercy.
Hmm.
I see myself and I smile because
Hmm.
in my phone I still have all those pictures and videos, Tiff, where I probably watch every other day something about when I was so in a dark spot, when I couldn't
Hmm.
walk. So I remember, I say constantly, I remind myself constantly of that's where you were. This
Hmm.
is where you are. So
Hmm.
every day it's a reminder that I could have still been there, but I did
Hmm.
all these things. So I cannot give up just over pain.
Right.
I can't. So I mean,
Yeah.
I have way too many photos. I should put them in some folder, but I like to have lived them being right
Yeah.
on my phone where I see something, or now the phone comes up and gives you a memory. And some of the
Yeah.
memories have been so devastating and horrible, but it's that memory. And then where I am
Hmm.
today when I'm doing the video and I look and see. So on this day, 5 years ago, yeah, I was unable to walk. To this day now, this is a new memory,
Hmm.
and it brings me
Yeah.
joy because honestly,
Hmm.
in some small way, I do it because I need to do it for all these other projects that I'm working on, etc. But the majority of it, 90%, is for myself because I want to see that Erica has grown. Erica has
Hmm.
listened to herself. She's listened to her body. She's chosen to hold herself to a higher standard and not just say, I'm going to let mediocre, I'm just going to do it here because I could. And some days I want to.
Mhm.
But I then remember, you know what? Were you really happy in those dark moments? Did you have dark thoughts? You know,
Mhm.
weren't you angry at everyone? Uh, now, I get mad now.
Of course.
Sometimes I don't think people hear when I say I'm in pain. You know, um, there's a McGill pain scale, which is a medical pain scale. And CRPS is 0 to 50. You have being an amputee without medication, giving childbirth without anesthesia. CRPS is at
Mhm.
45. Everything else
Mhm.
is underneath. That's how bad the pain is. That I think sometimes people don't hear me when
Yeah.
I say I'm in pain, or sure I'm trying to get
They
rescued.
don't see the
They
pain on
and
you.
that's
It's
and
not it's not a
correct.
visible
They don't.
yeah.
But if I say I am, just because I'm present doesn't mean I'm free of it, and I am trying, trying to make it through. Um, that's when I get most upset because I think that we as a society we don't listen to people. And you even said earlier you were
Yeah.
listening to me when everybody else
Yeah.
was trying to talk me out. You listened and could see on my face. I knew that you know there was something
Mhm.
more. Um, so the only thing I can say I have truly done is I've tried to look at where I was and see where I am today and see that as a miraculous blessing and that only God gifted me in that moment. So now what am I going to do? Allow it to go
Yeah.
unseen and unheard? No. And because I have actually died, coming out of that death, I became at peace with death, and that whatever is
Okay,
going,
you know you're gonna have to
because
explain that. You can't just be like,
I
because
don't
I
think no,
died. No, girl, you can't be
uh,
saying stuff like that and then not tell nobody what you talking
well, I had
about.
an out of body experience. I actually my heart stopped. I went asystoly. I was in the hospital and they were trying to just test my heart and everything. And I recall um, me saying to the nurse, I think I'm going somewhere. And she, I was
Hmm.
still hooked up, and she's like, no, 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 no. And I probably say 3 or 4 seconds later, I was viewing my body from the ceiling. I was watching them work on
Mm.
me,
Mm.
and then I realized, well, in that space, okay, well, I think I'm gone. And I
Hmm.
hovered for a while they watched me. And then in the corner of the hospital room, there was a light. I've never shared this, Tiffany. There was
No.
a bright light, and it was a woman's voice. And
Mm.
my dad passed away in 2003. And I'm a daddy's girl. And I wanted to see him. Once I realized that I was gone, my first thought was, well, let me see my dad.
Hmm.
And she said, no, no, you can't see him. Your work is not done. And I actually
Mm.
argued, which is even funnier. I argued with the girl, with the lady, the lady.
Which is so you.
That's what I'm hovering, but I'm arguing with the corner. Okay. No, I want to see my dad. I know he's over there. You need to let me see him. She said, no, there is work to be done. We need you to listen. And I'm still arguing. And I just finally got quiet. And she said, your time is not now. And
Mm.
she pushed me. I felt somebody push me back into my body. And
Mm.
when I woke up, of course, the doctors were around me, whatever. I didn't speak for probably, I think, 12 hours because I was confused. And I was really terrified if I said something without trying to comprehend what happened, they might switch the
Hmm.
floors I was on and put me in the psych
Yes.
floor.
Yes.
And so I was quiet. My mom, of course, then my Skip had called mom that she had flown in already. We were in Chicago at the time. It was, and then when I finally decided, I wrote down that I wanted them all in the room because I needed to share something. And because I didn't think anybody would believe me, actually. But then Skip said, no, you were gone. So if this is what you said happened, it felt like a long time for me, but it wasn't as long
Mm.
as of course, I thought it was weeks that I was over there arguing with her, um, trying to see my daddy. But after that, I really did have a peace about whenever that day comes that I need to make sure that what I have done in my life was enough. That whatever purpose that God had put on me at birth, that would hope that I had accomplished it and that I had touched people. And again, not knowing that I would have ever been sick because I'd never been sick in my life until all this came on me starting in 2005. Don't have children. So what would my legacy be? So in me fighting all of this, CRPS, heart disease, LVNC, I that moment of death woke me up to the reality that I need to be prepared for that to happen at any moment because I had never really thought about death for me.
Mm-hmm.
But what was that? What seed was I leaving? So
Mm-hmm.
even coming in contact with you, like what seed was I gaining from you and I becoming friends through that horrible moment for me? But how is that going to help somebody? So when I do share our story, I share it from a sense of hoping someone says, okay, someone she met didn't know her, but made a choice. All goes back to a
Mm-hmm.
choice, made a choice to be an advocate for her and with her, that someone else would do that. Um, the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with me, with CRPS, just making a choice. Yes, I want to give up, and I mean check out, but so many people believed in me and helped me get help in
Mm-hmm.
Italy. So I have to make the choice to do better and pour into myself so that someone, I mean, the best thing for me is when people text me on Instagram or TikTok and say, because I watched your video, I
Mm-hmm.
made a choice to go to the
Yeah.
doctor. Or I made a
Yeah.
choice. If she can do 30 sit-ups in a day and she doesn't want to, and she's showing me how to do it in a way that may be better for me, I'm going to do it. I should at least try to do 10. She got dressed in it looking fierce. But
Yes.
it makes you feel better because for a long time I
Yeah.
didn't. I didn't care. I really didn't care. But when I turned the corner and realized again after this moment of death, I had to make a choice because one day that's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and I am going to see my dad and my grandmother and my grandfather, and I'm not coming back. But when that happens,
You also gonna see that lady too.
girl, wouldn't that
And
be
you gonna have to
something? What
deal
if she says,
with that.
now you were arguing, because I was arguing with the entity in the corner. I mean, I'm surprised she didn't just slap me, but I
Listen.
guess she's a good person. She's a good God, a good angel, or
Yes,
whatever, so she
yes,
couldn't do that. But
yes.
should have been a sister and just popped me and said, because I was not listening. But even I, again, remembering she said, your time is not, she said, your time is not done. Uh, and
Mm-hmm.
for me to have to think about that, because I honestly had not really
Yeah,
thought about
yeah,
truly. Yeah, we all say this cute hashtag walking in my purpose. Yeah. But are
yeah.
you really walking in your
Mm-hmm.
purpose? Are you really
Yeah.
choosing to
Are
do?
you really walking
Yes.
in
Are
your
you
purpose?
choosing every day to do something that is
Mm-hmm.
going to help benefit not just yourself, but someone else?
But someone else. And I said that on our initial podcast, um, or maybe it was a teaser, I don't know, but that we are not here. What we're doing here really isn't about us at
Mm.
all. It's about everyone else around us, and the actions that we take, the things that we do, it impacts everyone
Yeah.
else. And so we have to be very intentional and purposeful about our why, and understand we're not here for us, we're here for others. We are here for
Mm.
others. And I am so thankful that I was able to be here
For
for
me, yeah.
you on those days. So, two things I learned today. One is that God is a woman. Um,
That's classic.
now we have
And
proof.
truly, honestly, it was. That's
Now
kind
we
of
have
that's
proof.
when I've shared.
Hmm.
Jesus, God was a woman, so she's got a new thing.
She's a woman. So we know that for sure. God is a woman. And two is you never truly know the impact that you have on people. And you also don't know so I guess that's three. Um, you don't know the impact that you have on people. So it's important that you are thoughtful
Yeah.
about your
Yeah.
purpose in other people's
Yeah.
lives, not their purpose in yours, but your
Yeah.
purpose
That's a
in
good one.
theirs.
That's good.
And that, you never know. This is number three. You never know what someone is going
Mm.
through. And that although they may look pristine on the outside,
Mm-hmm.
we all carry
Yeah.
around baggage, pain, hurt,
Mm-hmm.
disappointment, depression, anxiety. We all have the capacity to be dealing with so much on the inside, which is all the more reason to treat as many people as possible
Yeah.
with care
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
compassion
Mm.
at all
Yeah.
times, because we don't want to meet that lady for her to say, "Oh no, it is your time. Come
Right.
on."
And everything opens up. The whole corner opens up, and there's a
No,
whole.
how about this? How about this
You
though?
know, the
Oh, but this
elevator
ain't
go
your
right, right.
corner. Your corner's over there. And
No,
it's hellfire and
no, wait,
brimstone,
no.
okay?
So she makes you come through, and then she says, "Now you go to those elevators over there, and you push
Yeah.
the
And
button
they're gonna
down,
take you down.
right? And you push. You'll be all right, though. You be right. I know it's gonna get darker, but you'll be all right. You'll get
And
down.
hotter.
It's
You're
gonna
gonna be
light up when you
fine.
get down there. It's gonna light up once you hit that from that first floor. Boof! It's going to explode. Yeah, yeah.
Whew.
That's a good
So
one.
I thank God that we still have you
Yeah,
here to tell the story, that He has allowed you this opportunity to share
yeah.
your testimony with all of us. And I
Especially
thank you
you.
just for all the many messages and blessings that you brought into our lives today. And I hope that our listeners are able to walk away from your story with some little nuggets on how they can get through
Yes,
whatever it is they
whatever
may
it is,
be
and it
going through,
applies
with
to
grace, with
everything.
dignity,
Yes.
with beauty, and with compassion. I love you,
I
down,
love
Miss
you
Erica.
to life. I've been saying, I love you to life. I love you to life, Dr. Tiff. And I thank you, honestly. I know I said this to you years ago, but God put you on that plane and all your eyes communication, your eye communication at that moment. Even though we laughed,
Listen.
God knew what that laughter was going to start the bond, what would happen within 24 hours. So I do. I thank
Yeah.
you. And you, I'll say this real quick. Girl, I felt even more special because I didn't know who you were per se in the world. And then after I saw, I was like, "Whoa!" She said, yeah, the lady on the Steve Harvey, yeah, the lady who's doing that stuff. Oh, then the lady who did the yeah, and she was on. You were on the couple DC.
I'm not
I
even
mean
gonna help you
Atlanta,
out.
whatever that what
I'm
all the
not helping
couples.
you
Anyway,
out.
the couples and you
Because
came
I'm
you came and
embarrassed.
you did a thing with them and I was just like she saved my life. Yeah. She saved my life. Yeah. So a celebrity saved my life. How about that? So it's not just a regular person, a regular Joe Smo. It was Dr. Tiff. So I was even look, I was like, she touched me. She touched me. Y'all, she touched me. She touched my she touched my body. So, but I am honored
Listen.
that you were just there for that, but also that you have kept
Yes.
me in your circle and brought me on today.
Absolutely.
So I
Oh
thank
no,
you
we
too.
family, child. I can't get rid of you, clearly.
Not at all.
Can't get rid of you, clearly.
Not at all.
Clearly, you are part of my life
Oh, yeah,
for the rest of our
the
lives,
rest.
honey. And I just so appreciate
Well,
you.
thank
I want to
you.
thank you for being here on the podcast today. And I want to thank our listeners for listening into this story. It took some turns, didn't know she died, but glad she's still with us. Um,
You have to do that in there.
um, Yes, yes. Like, when nobody gonna ask no questions. Come on. So, thank you guys so much for listening today. This has been Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are putting this episode out on Wednesday, but you also have an opportunity to see it on YouTube as well. So, I want to remind people that we're on Spotify
Mhm.
podcast, where you can listen and watch this episode. You can also listen and watch on Thursdays on YouTube. But you also will be able to hear this episode on Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio, on Amazon Music, on Google Podcasts. So truly get in where you fit
That's
in. Just
good.
listen
That's
and
good.
comment and subscribe and follow the show, because you don't want to miss an episode. You do not want to miss an episode, because if you miss an episode, you miss a lot, and you never would have known that God was a woman. Confirmed without listening to this episode. Okay,
Hashtag
I will
good
talk
enough.
to you all. Exactly. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for listening and joining us today. Ciao. Accountable, but holding them up while they hold themselves
Yeah.
accountable and walk through this journey with them. So I know you have a special gift for listeners of Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. So I'm giving the listeners of Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff a forever discount on the 18-week program. So
This is huge. This is
yes,
huge. This is
the
huge.
full program is $3,600, but for you all,
Mhm.
it will always and forever be $2,400. So you all will get about
Wow.
$1,200 off forever and ever. And you can lock in that discount by just going to my website and clicking the button that says, I'm ready to get curious. And you will be added
Mm.
to a list. And once you're on that list, as soon as the program launches, I will send you the details for how to register and the discount code. And all I want you to do, because my goal here is definitely to make money, because like I said, I got to feed these kids
I
and
understand.
myself. But ultimately, what I want is for as many Black women as possible to be able to um, receive the benefit of this program. And I've put my heart, my soul, and my life
Mhm.
story into this. I am very open. I'm very vulnerable with my clients.
Mhm.
I'm actually teaching a parenting class right now, or teaching this class to a group of parents, and one of the ladies in the class said, I would rather come here than go to therapy.
Mm.
And so it's a group coaching situation. And so you learn to trust the other women going through this journey with you. And so you also have other accountability partners. You can hear other stories. You can, if
Mhm.
you get deep enough and you allow yourself to get vulnerable enough,
Mhm.
you can start to see yourself in their stories and start to
Absolutely.
see places where you can make changes based on the things that you see them doing. Because it's often hard to look at yourself and say, okay, I need
Mhm.
to change this. Um, and you should have an
Mhm.
accountability partner, someone that's going to be
Absolutely.
extremely honest with you.
And that was one of the reasons why I reached out to you and really wanted you to come on today, because I feel like your story is so powerful, and there's so many layers to it. But I do think, and one of the things that I love about the work that we're doing here on the podcast is in in our guests' vulnerability, in people telling their stories. My hope is that our listeners find something to connect to,
Mhm.
that they see themselves within all of the layers of our guests, and understand that if we see success, right? That if we see someone doing what we want to do, or someone having a life or a relationship or anything, that it doesn't come without a lot of work. And oftentimes it comes with a past. Like, there are
Mhm.
things that we have to do to get there. I want people to see that, we're more alike than we are different, and we all have our shit. And we've all been through a few things in order to get here. And if I can do it, if Brandy Williams can do it, then you can do it too. So I want you guys to definitely check out soulmed.co for more information on the Soul Med Health Collaborative. For more information on Brandy Williams, I want you to go online and don't don't walk but run and get that special discount by clicking on the, is it the Get Curious
Yes, so
tab?
it says, I'm
Yeah.
ready to get curious.
I'm ready
Yeah.
to get curious. Go ahead and click that on so you'll be the first to know when that program is up, and you can get your special discount. And Brandy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being a part of Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff.
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate you and everything that you shared here today. And just thank you so much for just sharing so much of yourself with the world. We appreciate you. We appreciate you standing up for others, and we appreciate you standing up for yourself in this season of your life.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I want to say one last thing. I want to encourage everybody to
Yes.
go listen to track 5 on Lauren Hill's MTV Unplugged 2. And I'm not getting paid to say this, but she makes a comment on there about how everybody, she went to Disney World with her kids, and they wanted to take her in through the front, and she said, no, let's go through the back. And she saw all the chaos in the back. She said, and that's people's lives, right? The chaos in the back. And
Mm-hmm.
she said, everybody
Mm-hmm.
should get a chance to see the chaos in the back. So don't be afraid to
Mm-hmm.
show your chaos in the back, because someone
Mm-hmm.
may be blessed from your chaos.
Absolutely. Well, I'm blessed. I'm blessed today, as our listeners are as well, from the from the chaos of your life, Brandy. And it's a beautiful, beautiful mess. We appreciate it. We love it here, and we'd love for you to come back and just talk some more about. I know we talked offline about you coming back and talking about your advocacy work, Hip Hop Caucus, the awards that you recently got for that advocacy work. I want you to come back and talk about that too, because I think that is important. But thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, guys, this has been Intimate Details with Dr. Tiff. We thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on all of the platforms. We are on Spotify, which is where you can view this podcast as well as listen to it. But we're also available on Apple Music, Amazon Music, and YouTube podcasts. So just get in where you fit in, get it wherever you can. And just thank you so much for being a part of the program. I'll see you next week. Ciao.